Next thing you're yawning, you're hungry, you're horny. It's because they're extracting ashe, energy.
They
Yes.
can't, but they can't take energy from you.
Yes, they can.
But I don't believe that.
Okay.
Like I think it's more, not that you give your energy away. Like there's no way someone can. You're giving your energy. They're not just taking it from you.
If I leave my front door open and something gets stolen, did I give it to the person?
Yes.
Or did I leave a door open?
It's the same thing, right?
If I open the door and give you an apple pie, as opposed to opening the door and you see the apple pie on my counter and you take it, what's the difference?
Okay.
One is theft, right? Now, how do they take your energy? You leave a door open.
Right.
Okay. What is the door that's left open? Religious dogma. That's a door. That's an easy door to get in. People come to me and say, oh, so-and-so messed with me. Once you tell me, oh, they're there, religious fanatic, easy, boom, we got this. I don't even need it, just give me some water. Stress is one of the biggest doors to get in. Someone who's stressed out or fearful, you can always take their energy very easily. You know, that's how you take energy. Now, can you stop someone from taking energy? Absolutely. That's what you're talking about. Yeah, I can make a clear choice even in this moment as I'm speaking and I'm giving ashe and I surround this place with my incense. I'm making it clear to any phantasm that may be around that this is not a place for you to come feed. That's why the incense is burning. Okay? So we do certain things in our auric body and our spiritual body to create protection for ourselves. Okay? So that way entities know the door is not open for you. Even when you have sex, there are things you should do to say, well, as soon as I orgasm, this is not for everybody to feed off of. Because there are entities waiting. Vampires, they need ashe to materialize in the physical world, which we call aye. Okay? Just like the movies. Back in the days, you'd have these movies, vampire gets killed, gets thrown in the grave, and then like there's a grave digger out there, he's sweating or he cuts himself over the grave, and he walks away, and then at the end you see a hand come through. And then the thing will go down. Because he was given a vehicle of travel. Blood, ashe, words, energy, sperm, urine, saliva are vehicles of travel. Okay? And what they do is they allow people to manifest in this world. Yeah.
So what would you say then is the difference between ashe and emi?
Beautiful. Emi expresses itself as ashe. Emi is the root. Emi is divine breath that flows through everything, but Emi is what we call the causeless cause. Okay? Are you familiar with Kabbalah?
A little bit.
Okay, cool. So you know above Kether you have Ein,
Sure.
which is 0.
Yeah.
That's really where the Kabbalah chart starts, at 0. You have Ein, Ein Sof, and Ein Sof, Sulfur. Very important. Remember I said that, sulfur. Because at the root of your soul is sulfur. Sulfur, just like when you burn a match and what's left over is salty. That's at the root of your soul. That's the top. But anyway, so it expresses itself. Ashe is an expression of expansion. Ashe glows hot. So Ashe is to get things done. It moves forward. So if you could picture like a man and a woman, women are receptive. They're wombs. They're soft. They're receptive. They bring things in. They're not looking to get things done until something is put in that stimulates the process. Whereas a man is expansive. He's light. He's trying to go define something. Ashe is an outward expression of definition. Like this leaf has been defined as something. We now see as a green leaf. Maybe. I don't know. It might be something else, but I said it's green and you all agreed, so now it's green. We just made the contract. It might be something different. But underneath it was something that didn't care to be anything. Until something fell from a tree, a seed, light, sperm, dropped down and said, I want you to be this. And here we have grass. So Emi is causeless cause. It's just there for no reason.
Would you say it's kind of like the difference between potential and kinetic energy?
Yes. Exactly. Emi is potential energy and Ashe is kinetic energy. It's once it gets into motion. Okay? But you need both of them. Because Emi is a boundless pool of energy. Ashe runs out. you can exhaust something of its ashe and then it dies. Okay? Imi never dies, because what happens when the body dies? When that ashe form is gone. The soul goes somewhere else, because the soul is Imi. It cannot be destroyed. It's just like a building. That's why people should never say my life. I effed up my life. You have no life. No. It's like a building. Like, you can't mess up the air in a building. Destroy the building, what happens? The air just goes somewhere else. So life is not ours to mess up. It's just inside of us for a minute, and then it goes somewhere else. But it's not ours to destroy. You see? So Imi cannot be destroyed. Ashe can be transmutated. So this goes back to what you were saying. What is the job of the Babalao, like myself, or a priest, or the Awo? We're able to extract the Ashe from something and transmutate it into something else. So you can give us a bottle of rum, or you can give us water, like that, or crystals, or anything, or ilekes, which before whoever the Awo is, which means priest, that gave him those ilekes, they were just glass beads. He transmutated, or she transmutated the energy of those glass beads into something that was now a force. Because in Yoruba, there is no word for thing. I've been trying to find it forever. It doesn't exist. The closest word they have to thing is ohun. O-H-U-N. And ohun means force. Nothing is a thing in Yoruba. Everything is a force. So if you understood the world as everything being a force, then you would understand that everything can be used for something because it's a force. Even the string and the beads. Because what do the beads represent?
They represent the conscious, or the Orishas in
Good.
the body.
But even before, that's good, you got it. But before they represented that, they represented the yonis. We all know what the yoni is, right? Vagina. Okay? So you have the beads are the vagina. And then what do? You string them with the lingam. Creation. Now he has entities around his neck. He has forces around his neck. Okay? So, that is what the Orisha are. The Orisha are forces that navigate us through our human world, and their intention and their hope is that we take them to the next level. Okay? Because they are temporary forces. And they express themselves through many different traditions. So is Gabriel, or Isis, or Osiris, or Raphael, or Michael, or Morgana any less Orisha than Shango, Oshun, Oya? No. Because they come from the same source. Love says, I'll express myself as Oshun, but I'm also going to express myself as Shola, and Venus, and Aphrodite, and as Pampagira, and as Beyonce. I have multiple expressions of how I want to present myself, and I'm going to give my children clues. So you're going to see Beyonce in gold, Goldfinger. She's going to tell you, this I'm Oshun. You see, because I can express myself. Tina Turner is going to say, I'm going to keep the last name Turner. I'm not going to take on Bullock, even though we know the bull is sacred to Oya. But I want to be Turner, like the tornado. And I'm going to represent that jilted woman, that battered, bruised woman that Oya represents. So you'll know who I am. That's your mother? Okay, I had a feeling. So they come, these avatars come in various forms. Oya comes as Kali, you see? Kuan Yin, Tara. All these different forms are Oya figures. And Ogun comes as 50 Cent. He comes as Suge Knight. I'm gonna wear all my red. Okay? Mike Tyson. These are Ogun, Khalid Muhammad's, Colin Powell. Oshun is even Hillary Clinton. Perfect Oshun representation. I know. Perfect. See, that's when we make them cartoon characters, when it's like they have to be one way. They express in ways that we couldn't imagine sometimes. And that's part of our job here, is to figure out the multiple expressions. That's why myself as a Babalao, I'm not sitting here telling you all to bow like you're supposed to do when you meet me. You asked me what my name is, Farouk. I didn't say call me Baba, which is my title. Because that's the old school Babalawo. The new school Babalawo, me, no, I like Meek Mills and, and you know, cheese doodles. Like, you know, so because Ifa is and Orumila is where I come from, Orumila evolves its expression. Okay? So when I say, yeah, I like shooting guns and I like having a bunch of beautiful women around me and da da da, now you understand, oh, that's what Ifa is today, huh? That's what Oludumare, the atomic beginnings, has evolved to. He's evolved beyond the identity, or the, you don't even see Elekes around my neck, okay? He's evolved beyond needing a certain identity. Now, is that wrong? No. That's another expression. That's an expression. That's an expression. That's an expression. That's an expression. And the unique expressions is the color. That's why he has so many colors around him. All of those colors make up the various strings of consciousness. And we can tap into each and every one of them. Questions? Are we on time?
We got time.
Okay.
I think, right?
12:51.
Yeah, I think so.
It's almost 1 then. Yeah.
10 minutes.
10 minutes? Okay, cool.
We got 10 minutes.
Well, I told you. Yes. Okay. Yeah, and then we'll get back. Realizing as soon as I get the guy. So it's not always that someone is intentionally going out to harm you. 9 times out of 10, that's not what it is. It's someone just not having enough ashe of their own, because they're not doing deep breathing, they're not doing qigong, they're not listening to music in the dark, they're not doing orikis and praise songs, they're not dancing, they're not doing anything. So they meet you and they say, I just love the way I feel when I'm around you. I just want to be around you all the time. It's just, I don't know, I feel like a better man. And you feel flattered and like, no, you're a damn vampire. Get away from me. Get your own power, and then we can meet up later.
So, I've been working with Orisha for about 10 years. One of my hardest problems is finding literature that isn't written in Spanish dialects.
Yeah.
Are there any English authors that write well about the Orisha that you'd recommend?
Myself.
Okay.
I would start with you. And there are some Yoruba books that you could get. There's a fellow by the name of John Mason. Yeah. Now, this is the problem you're gonna run into. He's transitioned, and his books here. These are my books, by the way. He's transitioned, and his books are very expensive. So yeah, like 100, 200 on Amazon.
He's out of print now.
They're out of print. But then they have like a couple of it. You can get them for like 15, 20 bucks. But anything you can get by John Mason, just grab it. Even if it's not something you're interested, just get it. It's gonna be good. Okay, I love John Mason. He's awesome. I got to speak to him before he transitioned. We used to talk on the phone, but we had never met in person. And the stuff that I'm speaking about now, he's right in alignment with it. And he dealt with Santeria a little bit more, but it wasn't. It was very Yoruba based.
Okay.
So yeah, I would go to John Mason. And there's some other books, but the problem is a lot of them are New Age.
Yeah.
And they try to include everything, and it just.
Minjani Gonzalez?
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, it's some issues there.
Yes.
You know. So yeah, I like myself. And I like John Mason. And don't always stick to Yoruba stuff. Go to the Congolese system. If you really want to learn Yoruba, study Congo.
Yes.
And there's some good Congo books out there. Okay, that's where it comes from. That's where the Kemetic systems come from. And that's also where Sangoma comes from.
Wasn't like Africa at a certain point, like its history, considered all of Congo, like most of West Africa?
Yeah, it was called Congo.
The King Kongos
At one point.
Yeah.
You know, called the Kibilan at one point. But yeah, there were conferences. The Congolese system, as well as the Ugandan system, was the root. Because you got to remember, the Nile starts in Uganda. That's the beginning of Nile Valley civilization. And that's where everyone would go to get the deep stuff. We study the Egyptian stuff because it's like exotic. And we get into it. And there's more translated literature there than anyone else. That's why but Kemetic, or the Egyptian system, was actually the Uganda and the Ethiopian systems on their decline. So you're getting the worst of what it actually was. Even though, so as powerful as it is, imagine how much more powerful the Congo or the Ugandans. So get the Congolese books.
Okay.
Okay, you want to get those.
Nicolaj.
Let me just get in.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You got a question? Oh, okay. Yes.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Your question.
No, I was fine.
she's
I was
cool.
fine.
I was gonna say, the Garden of Blood, Blood and Bones by Nicolaj. He speaks really well on Congo history and its practices.
Excellent. I haven't read that. I'll get it.
Nicolaj from Scarlet Imprint, the Garden of Blood and Bones, speaks really well on Congo history and its practices, especially like Palo Mayombe, where it comes from, and it evolved into the Caribbean. So yeah.
At the end of the day, when you study all systems, whether it be Hermetics, Hebrew, Yoruba, Sangoma, the Ethiopian systems, the Akan systems, it's the same thing. And it's not because one person, like each tradition will tell you, oh, Rumula traveled all around the world and taught. No. What happened is that psychically we all connected. It's just like now, dancers will come out on the East Coast, and then you'll find on the West Coast they're doing the same exact dance, but they just call it something different. Because those dances are even divine representation. Everything has a spiritual meaning, but it'll just have a different name. You know, like some place you may call it tap dancing, another place you may call it hoofing, and in another place you may call it the raising of the earth's kundalini. So what do you think all the tapping was for? Sammy Davis Jr. and those guys that came out, they were priests. They were part of a priesthood order. And they were here to bring up the kundalini of the earth. That's why we now have global warming. Because the serpent of the planet is heating up.
It's funny how you say you consider yourself more, not New Age, but not associated with like old school Babas. What's your whole perspective of like old school Babas, stripping the feminine out of like, out of Olodumare and Oduduwa and just making it this old masculine being? Because my research of like Olodumare and stuff and, being Lukumi, they just wanted the whole Christian conception into the religion through the Caribbean and stuff like that. They stripped the feminine out of everything and put the masculine above everything. So how do you approach that and how do you see that?
You just answered the question. It's the Christian invasion and the Islamic invasion that did that. Because you got to remember, your three chief deities in Christianity is God the Son and the Holy Ghost. It was really Isis, Osiris, and Horus, or Osir, Osir, and Heru. So they killed Isis and made her a ghost. We just call her the Holy Ghost. You see? So when you're coming with that type of influence, and most of these Babalawos that you're speaking about are Christians and imams. They're already converted. And what they're teaching you is what their grandfathers taught them that they can remember. Most books you'll read, you'll see they'll say that. I'm a 5th generation Babalawo, but I'm actually a genetic scientist. But I'm just going to write down what I remember in this book. And we worship these books because we can't get our hands on anything else. It's like Guy was saying. But most of these books are written by people who don't even really fully practice the culture. You see? But it's better than nothing. So yeah, stripping the masculine is completely against Yoruba construct. Even your elekes, like I said, the string is the penis and the beads are the vagina. Everything in this system deals with the interaction between light and dark. It's the interaction of Shango and his 3 wives. It's the interaction of Ogun and his 2 wives. It's the interaction always of Eshu, who is androgynous. Obatala is androgynous. Okay, so that aspect and that it's not about putting the women back on the throne, because some people come with that. Yeah, the women need to rule. No, the men need it. No, it's got to be the balance. Okay. And that's where that gives rise to creation. When heaven and earth come together, man is formed, not mankind. Mankind is soulless. Mankind has no Ori. That's why when Buzz Armstrong, when he landed, he said, one small step for man, one giant step for mankind. He was saying something for all the occultists out there. He was saying, I know I'm not a man. I am a part of a society, and there are many societies where these are soulless people who are trying to transform and ascend to the state of soul beings. These are the secret order societies everybody likes to talk about. These are the people who have no Ori, and they know they have no Ori. So when it says one small step for man, it's because man already traveled to the moon. This is not new for man. It's a giant step for mankind because the kind of man, the man that was created, or what we called in Egypt, the Tamahu, this is big for us. He didn't even do it then because they freaking faked the landing. Okay, so no, that is not a part of the culture.
And 1 o'clock. It's really sad because in our community, Ka and Ocha, you know, that's really predominant. But my Oba, was also my Tatani DC, he emphasizes that when we do rayamentos or scratchings into the palo, he was like, I need the presence of the yaya.
That's right.
I need her presence when we're scratching because we need the feminine and the birthing. He's not like other palo lineages where he's like, oh, it's just men and no gays allowed and all that stuff. And he's like, I need the presence of the yaya to give birth, not just me, because I need the woman and the man present.
90% of occult spirituality, especially Yoruba and indigenous African spirituality, is female. There's something that's called triple stage darkness that they speak about in the Quran. And triple stage darkness, it is said, is where Allah or Ilah emerged from. Now, Allah, don't ever tell a Muslim, they will
punch in the face.
Have a problem. Allah actually does not mean God. It means the peace. The peace. Al means the definitive form of the, just like al, el, the, like theology, theologian, all of these words mean God. La, or Ilah, means peace. So Allah is the peace of God. So then that means that Allah is another God, because that's just an aspect of God. Now, it is said in the Quran that Allah emerged from triple stage darkness. What do you think that was? That was a womb. Right now we're floating in space, and what are we floating in? Darkness. It's a gigantic vagina we're inside of right now.
We're an embryo ready to be birthed.
That's it. That's all we are. Everything comes from dark. Darkness cradles light. Without darkness, light has no place to hold itself. So even when you plant a seed, it goes into the dark. The darkness of the earth cradles that seed to give rise to something. The darkness of the earth cradles those who fall from heaven, called the Anunnaki, the Anakim, the Anu, Lucifer, mankind who live in Aye, and they give rise to man. So us falling, Ori, Olodumare, wrapping itself, saying, okay, I'm going to be this Ori soul. I've given it the breath of life, and wrapping itself gives rise to these personalities, these faces, this everything. Get to you in a minute.
Okay, I have a question.
Sure.
You said that the Egyptians were medicines for beginning the conquest,
Yes.
right? But why is it that in history it teaches that Egyptian civilization started in Egypt, but not other colonies in Africa?
Yeah, because they're not dealing with the fact that Egypt was actually a colony. So just like when they say Nile Valley civilization, well, they don't even say Nile Valley civilization. They just say Egypt. But when they're speaking about Egypt, they're really only speaking about the southern tip, which they call the northern tip. That's actually the south. But they're just talking about that one little area in the sand where there's a couple of pyramids. But all along that Nile Valley, where the Nile runs, there's a valley. There was civilizations and pyramids all up and down it. Now, the beginning of that valley, where the river actually started, was Uganda. So what happened was the people migrated up. And as they migrated, they formed colonies. And Egypt was one of the colonies. Now, Egypt was mostly also populated by the people known as the people of Punt, P-U-N-T. That's the region now that we know as Somalia. Okay? And this is where you get like the best frankincense in Punt. Okay? But Ethiopia, being a Greek word, Eth, which means God, and Ethiopia is like utopia, means like, you know, perfect place. Ethiopia was considered to be like paradise. And it's people who colonized and moved out, they landed in Egypt, or that northern tip. But, like I said, it's just that we have our most translated literature there. So even if you go to Ethiopia and try to find some deep stuff, they're just going to take you to Catholicism. That's about as far back as you're going to go. There's an angel there that some talk about called Anwar, but you won't get much information. You go to Egypt, you get a lot of information because all of the buildings are still standing. You go along the Mississippi River, Mississippi, which is an Egyptian word, by the way, as well as Memphis. You have pyramids. The first pyramids that were ever found along the Mississippi. There were also pyramids that were found in Cleveland as well.
Cool.
Okay, so there are actually pyramids on this soil as well. The This is where we go back to the understanding of the Stargate. The pyramids were not just these tombs and buildings like they tell you. They were actually airports. This is where we would teleport. So we would go into one vortex in one pyramid, and we end up along the Mississippi River. Okay, then we end up in South America. We end up in Asia. You know, when you're dealing even with the Chinese dynasties, these are all colonies of really Uganda. Keep in mind that the first two Chinese dynasties, the first three Shang dynasties, were actually ran over by black rulers. That's why they're called the Shang. Where do you think they got that word from? Anybody know? Anybody pick up on it? Shango. That's where you got the Shang dynasty. Cambodia, where they just found this massive pyramid at. I think it was last year. Cam means black. That's why Egypt was not, it was Egyptos, which was the name, was actually not the original name. It was Kemet, which means the land of the black faces. Cambodia meant the land of the black people. Okay? So these are people, these are places, that's why wherever you go you find African culture, because we were constantly teleporting all over the darn place before we got really stupid, and now we can really walk.
What do you think about the potential battle that's happening spiritually between people that are working on this and propelling this and doing this, and what has been happening for a long time of like trying to subdue it? And I think that has a lot to do with, again, trying to overcome the black culture and the black community in general. Is this like, we need to, and especially the Christianity and everything, trying to like halt this spiritual evolution that was happening.
Right. It's the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah.
I love it.
It gives it a purpose, right?
It gives it a purpose, and it weeds out the weaklings.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with spirituality, we need more alphas. The beta stuff is not getting us anywhere. It's where we talk about the Babalaos he's talking about, who don't respect the women and the feminine aspect and stuff like that. Those gotta go.
Yeah.
That's gotta go. Let them die off. So all of the suppression that's coming is now forcing evolution. So
right. It's that everybody's playing their part.
right, and the pressure is squeezing out the diamonds. So cool. Come on, let's go. Let's try this stuff out. Things that I've learned and I teach, I've tried out in real battle. Like when my life was on, literally. I ain't just talking about a snake on the ground or something. I'm saying I was going to be destroyed.
Have you ever like considered or had any interest in like getting people together to do some kind of like massive ritual at all the different pyramids, blah 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 blah?
Nah, because you got to look at the world like a giant nucleus, which it is. 97% of a nucleus, if you understand even how an atom is shaped, is actually empty space. They call it dark matter. The greatest mass and density is at the center. So mass movements, that went out with the 60s. It's not going to happen.
Well, not,
but
I don't
it only
mean mass
takes
movements as far as like getting lots of people. I just mean in general, like doing something very intimate, but with like on all parts of the world.
We're already doing it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Right now, I guarantee you.
Yeah, somebody's doing what we're doing.
I would bet anything on it. Somebody, and if somebody looks like you, probably somebody looks like me. And they going, whatever language they're speaking in, I guarantee you. So again, the deity
it takes a purpose. It's just diluting the intention, really, when you try to take it that far.
And you broadcast it. Bad men move in silence. Don't tell the plan. Look at the night sky. Those stars are millions of miles apart from each other, but they look like they're all doing the same thing. Get it? This is another woman somewhere with a star on her forehead, showing that her third eye has been activated. Okay? And you guys are thousands of miles apart, but in the collective spiritual sense, they all see us as one big body. We're cool. We got this. That's why we're waking up. There was another.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, what would be your advice to epileptic practitioners who are not part of like the Orisha community, like yourself, who want to have a desire to get closer to Orisha? How would you tell them to, just continue that if they just want to remain eclectic with this big, issue about cultural appropriation nowadays, saying, oh, you can't do that because you don't have initiations? Right. Because the way I started was I was committing suicide. Yamaya came into my life, and then I began my devotee.
Your head.
Yeah, she was like, I'm taking you.
Right.
So I began my devotion to her, but I researched everything that's appropriated to her. So what would be your advice if you want to continue your eclectic devotion to Orishas?
Join nothing.
Self-initiation.
Joining is for suckers. Don't join anything. All right, now but that's my number one advice, because what happens as soon as you join something, you're now restricted from doing something else. Like I have a school where I teach these things, right? But even within my school, you can't stay forever. Okay, once you learn, like there's people I exit out. No, don't. I'm not going to be your apostle. Okay, what happens is once you join, if God's a blood and I'm a crib, right? And I need something in order to take me to the next step, but it's against regulations, I'm stuck now. I can't go to the next step. If he needs something that Crips do that he can't do as a blood, you see I'm taking it to the lowest down. I'm taking it to gangs. Can't get any lower than that. You know, in a sense. So that is something deeper to that too. But the point is, once I join something, I now have rules. And the rules are always going to block my ascension. That's why Most High came down here in the form of Eshu. Eshu is called the independent phenomenon. He does what he wants. I pivot at the crossroads. You don't know what I'm going to do next. In Hindi culture, we have Hanuman. And Hanuman is the avatar of Eshu. And Hanuman is represented by the head of a monkey. Barack Obama has the Hanuman tattoo. He knows about this thing. So what that means is that form of the monkey is very energetic. Okay, the Indian monkey and the African monkey are different. Okay, one is like a little bit more laid back and one is always bouncing all over the place. It's very unpredictable. That's why Hanuman has that head, because that represents the unpredictability of Ashe. It manifests and forms in any form that it wants to. Because why? It didn't join anything. It don't join nothing. That's for suckers.
Like, you say not to join anything, but like even my old boss, my father, you know, you have the same mindset. My Ila is called the House of Misfits, and the reason why is because he doesn't want to restrict nobody in their path. He's like, go out there, go learn come back to me. I'll give you my interpretation. You'll learn your own interpretation. So, you know, I'm initiating to the Lukuti. I had already initiated to follow, but I started as a pagan. So he respects that I started as a pagan.
And I'm gonna tell you something. You think that's new, but it's not.
Exactly.
That's how Yoruba was before Christian invasion. That's why we were able to travel to Kemet, Uganda, South Africa, and all these different places and learn from each other. Even if you go to Kemet, on certain temple walls, you'll see certain formulas, and they're wrong. It's straight wrong. They're as wrong as E equals MC squared, which is wrong if you didn't know it. It doesn't even work. Okay? But the thought form of the Kemites was, it doesn't matter. There was no word for argument. I'm not going to argue this with you. You come and you share what it is that you do, and we're gonna honor you and your path so much. We're gonna carve it on our temple, and it's gonna be here thousands upon thousands of years from now, even though we think it's wrong.
So that's what his mindset. He was like, I'm a teacher, but I'm also a student. So
exactly.
He said, I learned from you, and you
got a good person.
Yeah, he says that all Orishas also have Ashe, just like, you know, an Orisha has Ashe.
Sometimes you got more than we do. I get students sometimes that come through, and we'll do initiation, but I'll tell them, like, you really don't need this.
Where are you located?
I'm based in New Jersey, but I work all over. You know, I'm right at the bridge, the CWG. But some people just have it, yes.
You said that we shouldn't really join anything, but I know in some spiritual paths you have to be initiated to learn everything because the information is not given out to any outsiders.
Here's the thing, though. That's been cracked open. It was like that at one point. You would have to initiate in order to initiate your path of learning, which was an excellent thing. But what happened was the culture was raped and robbed and then put in print. So certain things that were once secret, like for instance, you were never supposed to be able to look inside someone's Orisha pot. I can take you right now to Barnes & Noble and show you books that have pictures inside of people's Orisha pots.
Gonzalez.
Yeah, you know the book I'm talking about. The book is titled Santeria. And it's all these pictures of these different pots. You're not supposed to see that. You see, so once stuff got cracked wide open, we had to evolve to something else. So my evolution is this, okay, you know what? I'm going to teach you that stuff. Because I'm on some new stuff anyway. You really think I call Ogun Ogun? It's not even his name anymore.
What is his name?
Well, that's another conversation.
I have to wait for that one, huh?
They evolved.
Like we do.
Or Oshun,
Just
exactly.
like we do.
I had told a Baba once, you know, another colleague of mine, I was like, you know, Oshun is over the porno industry, right?
She's what?
Over the porno industry.
That's true.
And what? Oshun, listen, man, she doesn't have a personality.
That's her energy.
That's,
Yeah.
it's just energy.
And there's the reason.
So she needs people, Oshun is over conjoining. She just needs people to join up. However you do it, just join up. Who do you think is having all these little girls having babies, teenage pregnancy? Because Yemoja is like, listen, the way the recession is, you guys are scared to have children. Plus you hate each other. You call each other the opposite sex. You're opponents. If I wait for you, there'll be no babies born. Somebody's got to keep the numbers up. So I'm going to deal with these 16, 17-year-old girls and these Shango young men. See? So things evolve, and it's our human thought that introduces this flesh judgment that judges and say, Oshun wouldn't do that. Oshun is righteous. By who? Your religious standards? You see what I'm saying?
Like, even though she has Avatar, where she's like, I'm sweet as the river,
Prostitute.
but I'm a warrior and I'm a sorceress.
She's a prostitute. How do you think her dress turned yellow? Because she used to cry every day. Yeah, the whore. Coming from the word Horus. Heru. Okay? Bitch. Again, queen of the dog star. Son of a bitch was a pagan term. That's how the Romans, they would identify people. If you were someone, and pagan just means someone who's from the country. If you practice a different religion, they would identify you as a priestess of the bitch or a son of the bitch. And this meant that you dealt with that Osirian energy, or what we call Sirius B, Sirius A star system. Sirius, where you get Sirius Radio, it's got the image of the dog as the logo. Sirius is from Osiris, where you get the word Irish, the I, where you get the land Ireland, Irish. This all comes from Osiris, and the term bitch. And it's most curses that you think are curses at your temple words, that's why they tell you don't say them, because they empower you. Okay, there's a whole list. I won't go through.
You gotta write a book on that one.
Please, no one bring any of the words up.
These energies, they're all different. But if you look at the Congo and the Mongols, they mirror the Orishas, like Mama Chola Wenge and Oshun.
It's the same thing.
Even though we give the respect of the tradition of appropriating differently, but their energies mimics each other.
Because they manifest each other as something different.
Exactly.
Here in this moment, most of you can't even remember my first name, first of all. I know I introduced myself when I sat down. So in this moment, I'm just a guy who was talking about Orisha stuff. But in the next moment, I'm somebody's father. In another moment, I'm somebody's grandson. You know, or the guy who almost came late for his workshop. You see? So it's the same energy, but it represents itself in different times to different people in different ways. And if you learn all the representations, you get a better grasp on the energy, and then you're able to approach the energy from a peer perspective. That's your goal in this life, not to serve an Orisha. Anybody tells you that, just smile and say, okay, be courteous. But they don't know what the heck they're talking about. Your goal is to serve the Ori. That's the higher self. Yeah, that's you as Olodumare. And that Ori has a mission to ask a question. Olodumare sat back and said, I wonder. And then Lucifer said, I'll make it happen, I'll find out and be better than you, I'm going to get the answer. And then Olodumare said, okay, cool, but you know what? I'm going to make you fall to the earth and get herpes and everything else that they get down in that disgusting place. You're going to get herpes and gonorrhea and parking tickets, you're going to get locked up for nothing, domestic abuse, whatever is down there. And Lucifer says, all right, but it's worth it to get the answer. So that's us, going through the crap to get the answer. Mushrooms come from crap, okay? So anything that is worth understanding has to come from fermentation. That's why society is so horrible, what you were talking about earlier, the war. Because out of that fermentation and rot comes fungus or new life.
You said that we work to get the understanding. Aren't we actually, even though I don't know the answer, but we're born with that understanding? It's just a matter of trying to remember.
No.
No.
You're not born knowing the question, knowing the answer to the. And I use the word the on purpose. The means God. You're not born knowing the answer to God's question, because God is not all-knowing. Ask Ola Damari what it feels like to get punched in the face.
Maybe he never been punched in the face.
Why?
Because it's never been.
He doesn't have a face. Exactly, Chris. So he puts us in the human body to answer the question. Bow. Oh, okay. It stings. So we go back and we say, now when they pray to you, because they were hurt from this, now you'll have an empathetic link. Because you didn't know what it felt like, so you had no understanding of it. Now, what we come with the understanding is our past lives. Okay?
Yes.
That's what we come in the world with. Babies come. That's why when they come in, they look so miserable. No baby looks happy when it's born. I seen my daughter come right out the womb. And she did this, she put a V up, and then she...
They just went through crazy trauma, like going from this
It's not, they like, I'm here again? That's what they're saying. Again? Oh my God.
Yeah.
I just can't, I thought I did it right last time. Now I gotta do this again? Another 80 years of this?